This week we were asked to celebrate and remember the need to protect the life of the unborn in the church calendar. And so we had readings from the book of Samuel and from the Gospel of Mark. When I first looked at them, I thought, how am I going to do this? The reading from Samuel was about David killing Goliath, and the reading from Mark was about Jesus curing the man with the withered hand in the synagogue. But I began to realize how they did fit together. You know, in this battle we have against the power of death, and we're living in a culture of death, as John Paul II had said. I think he was right. But this battle against the power of death, we feel rather like little David, this young kid in the reading, going against this giant Goliath with all this weaponry and this huge man who could just crush little David. But David happened to be a good shot with the slingshot. He had a very good aim. He could get that stone right where it needed to go. And it honestly came alive to me when I realized that Jesus had the same ability verbally, that Jesus could talk about things that really would hit home, right to the point that he wanted to make, even if people were not expecting him to be so good at it. So in that story of the man with the withered hand in Mark's Gospel, we see this man in the synagogue on a Sabbath. And there were Jewish people at the time, and certainly not everyone, but there were people at the time who believed that you were not allowed to do any healing on the Sabbath because that was work. For example, if a wall fell on somebody on the Sabbath, you were allowed to get enough rocks off the person to see if they were dead or not. But that's all you were allowed to do. You couldn't do anything else. You couldn't help them get up. You couldn't heal them if they were not dead. If they were dead, you couldn't even carry the body away. That was the attitude of some of these people. And Jesus then at the synagogue decides to heal the man with the withered hand on the Sabbath. And he asks them the question, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath? Is it lawful to kill? Is it lawful to do evil? And they did not answer him. And the gospel says he looked at them with anger because they were so closed to the idea of doing good on a particular day. So he healed the man with the withered hand, and his opponents then went right out of the synagogue and planned a way to kill him. So in fact, he did good on the Sabbath, and they did evil. And not only evil, they plotted to kill somebody on the Sabbath. Now, if that's not profanation, what is? But you see how Jesus made his point. He was a good shot. In a sense, like David, metaphorically, he got that stone right where it hurt. He knew exactly where to hit it. Their laws were too constraining, and they were really crushing the spirit of the people. And many people knew that and wanted change. And Jesus was a spokesman for the change. So like little David, he had much more power than they expected. And a lot of it was because he knew how to use his weapon, which was the truth. David knew how to use his weapon, the slingshot. I wonder if you're a good shot. Think about it today and follow the Lord.